Hi everyone, I'm Whitney Zimmerman, and my target population that I chose was the LGBTQ youth. So, in defining this population, the age ranges for youth is usually between 14 and 24 years old, according to the UN. So, LGBTQ youth are at the stage of high school, maybe end of middle school, and they might be even emerging into college if they choose to go that route. Um, so, the LGBTQ youth are often experiencing discrimination and harassment by peers. So, this is common. Also, this population has an increased risk for depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation. On the right hand side, there is this graph. So it shows the UCLA School of Law. So each year they update this demographic data for LGBT in the United States that shows kind of where they are at. Where this population is at. So this was of January 2019. So it shows that white is 58%, Latino is 21, and then black is 12, and then other is 5. What's interesting about this is in one of the articles that I had read, it was talking about how if you have two different minorities, if you fit into two different minority groups, typically you experience a higher risk for depression and suicidal ideation. So, if someone, for example, is Latino, as we can see for 21%, if they are Latino and are also identifying as LGBTQ, they are at an increased risk than someone who is white and is an LGBTQ and identifies as that. Right beside that is a graph of age distribution. So you can see kind of where people identify at what age. So it's interesting because it shows that the highest LGBTQ is at 18 to 24, which is in that range of youth. So that just kind of shows, I think, that our society is just growing and it's starting to be more accepting slowly. So this next slide I wanted to put in here. I thought this was really interesting. So I found this on Supporting Safe and Healthy Schools 2019 survey. So it shows what the social workers of mental health practitioners perceived students as being uncomfortable in certain characteristics. So transgender students are at the highest risk of being or feeling unsafe in school systems. And then you can see down the line what other students, so like students with LGBTQ parents, race, religion. I found this really interesting because it shows you what kind of people, specifically students, that are experiencing this kind of unsafe environment within the school, which ultimately you will see affects school performance. So LGBTQ youth challenges and statistics. So this population is twice as likely than non-LGBTQ peers to experience verbal abuse and or physical assault at school. 1/3 of the LGBTQ youth have admitted to attempting suicide in the last year, and they are also at a higher risk of using drugs and alcohol. So all of these factors contribute to school performance. And as you can see on the right-hand side from the Human Rights Coalition, it does say 21% of LGBT youth from their survey say that bullying is their biggest problem at school. So what effects does this have on school performance? So an unsafe school atmosphere leads to an increase in social avoidance. Low self-esteem and high levels of depression affect optimism, which affects how students look towards their future and future goals. 52% of LGBTQ youth report feeling uncomfortable or feeling comfortable in participating on online groups rather than after school activities, which definitely kind of shows that the school activities and school programs could definitely get better. Victimization of LGBTQ youth has led to higher rates in school dropouts and increased absentee days. So, and I listed my source at the bottom. So, really, it just comes down to discrimination and feeling that marginalization makes people depressed and anxious and very uncomfortable and unsafe to come to school, which affects this. So, what is the school social worker's role? So, acknowledging what biases that we have, so personal biases, that is a huge thing. Educating and utilizing evidence based practice regarding LGBTQ cultural competency. So, if we're not as culturally competent on this subject, it is a good thing to do that. Also, analyzing current school policies to determine gaps in any kind of barriers. Educating teachers and staff on the importance of providing a safe school environment for LGBTQ students is crucial because they are the ones who are meeting and seeing the students on a regular basis. Empathetically responding to LGBTQ students' needs and also providing crisis intervention if necessary. Um, Establishing connections with LGBTQ students to kind of meet the needs and provide a safe space to students to talk, in a way that they feel comfortable and they can address any concerns that they have. And also to respond to concerns by actively involving everyone, so involving teachers, families, the community, peers, any, even LGBT students that are from outside communities that are friends, and pretty much building this alliance. So that brings me to my next thing. So implementing a gay straight alliance. So this has proven very effective through research. So having a gay straight alliance brings people together, and it is a student led group, and it brings both sides together and it promotes that connection between students. And I will show you more resources on that when I go to my next few slides. So, and also following up with the LGBTQ students on evaluating how this is improving. So the role of teachers and staff. So also acknowledging personal biases. We never know where teachers and staff are when it comes to certain biases that they may have outside of school. So acknowledging those, recognizing signs of bullying, and intervening when it does occur. So from the article that I read, there's an article I read that is called the influence that teachers have on peers. So teachers are an authority figure, and students look up to that. So if teachers are going to intervene, students are going to feed off of that. So that is something that is extremely important. Also, empathetically responding to LGBTQ students by providing a comfortable and supportive learning environment. So kind of reiterating to other students, bullying is not acceptable. Creating safe spaces for support. Continue education to enhance cultural competency to effectively communicate with LGBTQ youth. And also join and connect with the school social worker and the LGBTQ students to address anti-bullying policies so it can be monitored and continue to make progress in the future. So these are my resources for school social workers, teachers, and staff. The first one is the Trevor Project. So the Trevor Project is probably one of my favorites. It is very resourceful for both, the community, the LGBTQ community, staff, social workers, family members. It has so much on it. So I highly recommend it. There's also the Human Rights Coalition. So I cited it throughout my presentation. They have many, many surveys and statistics and resources for pretty much anyone, families, students, teachers, and even social workers as well. And then the next one is the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network. So this here is actually really interesting. So this is a really good resource that provides pretty much all the resources that I had mentioned above. However, it also has a component where teachers or even social workers can take this survey, and what you can do is you can survey the climate of the school. So you can see if the climate within the school has gotten better since you've had any problems with LGBTQ bullying or conflict, anything like that. I really highly recommend that. And then also there is the Gay Straight Alliance Network. So that gives more information on that. I talked about that earlier. So this gives you information on that, and it tells you how to start that up. They're easy to start up, and in different states they have them so you can connect with other people. So it's really nice because then students can connect with other fellow students from around the world who are also in this alliance and build a network. And then there's Stop the Bullying. So this is for really good for teachers and staff and social workers. So and even family members, people in the community. So it just tells you signs of bullying, how you can stop bullying. It gives you ways and resources that you can turn to better your school environment and climate and make people feel more safe. And then here are my references that I use throughout my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thank you.